Oshkosh. It's the biggest aviation event in the world, hands down. So of course I go there every year, right? Actually, no. Don't get me wrong, it's not that I don't want to go. I've been there for a day at a time, a few times, and I'd love to go back. But unfortunately, Oshkosh is always during the same week as RAGBRAI, a large cycling event in the state of Iowa that's also a lot of fun. Now, my pilot friends often ask me, why would you go on a bike ride during Oshkosh? Well, calling RAGBRAI a bike ride is kind of like saying Bob Hoover was an okay pilot. Let me try to explain what RAGBRAI is, why it's so much fun, and I'll try to do it in terms that are meaningful to a pilot.
Let's start with the basics. RAGBRAI is a 7-day bicycle ride across the entire state of Iowa, starting at the Missouri River and ending at the Mississippi. It started in 1973 when 2 journalists from the Des Moines Register newspaper rode their bicycles through the state, and they wrote a column about what they experienced along the way. A few others joined them, and they had so much fun that they decided to have a second ride the following year. With greater attendance, even more fun, so a third ride was held in 1975 called the Register's Annual Great Bicycle Ride Across Iowa, or short RAGBRAI. And it's been happening ever since. The route varies from year to year, covers around 450 miles, and it always takes place in the last full week of July, which of course is also the week of EAA's AirVenture and Oshkosh. There are an estimated 15,000 riders each year, plus support people, which makes it the largest bike touring event in the world by participation. In many ways, RAGBRAI is to cyclists what AirVenture is to pilots. Just like people do Oshkosh in different ways, there are different ways to experience RAGBRAI, and there are all kinds of groups of cyclists who participate. For some, it's a yearly family reunion. There are church groups. There are teams from the armed forces, co-workers from companies who form RAGBRAI teams. There are superheroes in costumes. Riders can be as young as infants in trailers, seniors in their 80s, and everybody in between. One thing RAGBRAI is not is a race. There's no timing and no ranking. For some, it's a serious week-long exercise and practice for subsequent races, but most people come to RAGBRAI not to make a good time, but to have a good time. That's definitely the case for the team I ride on, the Subtle Savages from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. We are one of the so-called party teams, and while the biking on RAGBRAI is a lot of physical activity, the best way I can describe it is a week-long party on bikes. Let me give you a tour. On Saturday morning, our team bus takes us from Cedar Rapids to the starting point of the week, which is a different town each year somewhere near the Missouri River on the Iowa-Nebraska border. It's an ancient school bus, which was converted to carry around 50 bicycles on top, and the inside has more standing room than seats. The bus ride out to the Missouri River is already a highlight, where our livers get a first idea of what's coming up the rest of the week, and everybody is having a great time. Many teams use converted school buses, but the buses are all quite unique. You may like this one here, using parts from a retired Boeing 727 from TWA. They're called Team Fly, and they have an original throttle quadrant, overhead bins, airline seats, and a lot more from that airplane on their bus. Most people think Iowa is flat, and while we have no high elevations in the state, we do have rolling hills that can be a challenge on a bicycle. While the hills can be scenic, the incline can add up to over 4,000 feet on a single day. Easy to do in my Bonanza, but on my bike, not so much. The total climb can be quite significant over the course of a week. At some point we stop for lunch and gas, and it's like a family reunion. Lots of cyclists only see one another during this 1 week of the year, and over time many friendships have been created. I bet that sounds familiar to AirVenture regulars, right? We run into friends from other teams and make plans for the week ahead. Everybody is excited as can be. Each night, all cyclists stay in a designated overnight town along the route. Most riders get up fairly early and hit the road between 6 and 8 a.m. As for me, my schedule is more relaxed. In fact, I don't have a schedule on RAGBRAI. I'm on vacation and I'm not setting an alarm for 5 a.m. or something like that. And that's true for everyone on my team. We're not ever in a rush on RAGBRAI. Depending on where we set up camp overnight, we may have access to a house with bathrooms and running water. But if not, our team bus has a bathroom and there's a water tank on top which we fill every day and use for an outdoor shower. Most days, the sunshine and warm weather make the water warm enough to enjoy that. It's not luxury, but it works. And with this bus, our team is pretty much self-contained. After we pack up and get the bikes ready to roll, we usually head to a nearby convenience store or grocery store for breakfast. Cycling burns a lot of calories, so we have to eat a lot. It's kind of nice being able to eat anything we want all week long without any guilt. Then we start the actual ride. The route for each day and the distance and the amount of climb is announced long before the event, but other factors determine how hard of a day it's going to be. The temperature, the humidity, and the wind. A dry mid-70s day with a light tailwind can make 100 miles a breeze, whereas a seemingly short 60-mile day can turn into really hard work when it's a humid 100 degrees into a stiff headwind all day. Each day, there are several planned stops along the way to break up the total distance. The towns along the route host RAGBRAI parties with food and beverages, with bike repair, music, and many other things. But even outside the towns, there is often an opportunity to stop, rest, and make new friends. Sometimes a food vendor will set up on the side of the road, like the famous Mr. Pork Chop here, or this beer truck. At other times, cyclists will stop at completely random places. We call that safety stops. Many of us carry refreshments on the bikes, which we enjoy there. And then there are times when the weather forces us to seek shelter. Fortunately, farmers and homeowners in Iowa are, for the most part, very friendly and accommodating and help keep us safe. Also fortunately, most of the time the weather is pretty nice this time of year, so we can really enjoy the outdoors. All day long, I don't have any schedule or time constraints. This is one of the best parts of the week for me. I don't wear a watch on RAGBRAI. I get to the overnight town whenever I get there, which can be anywhere from early evening to 3 in the morning. Sometimes the last 10 miles of the day can take 5 hours to get there. We make spur-of-the-moment decisions all the time. No meetings, no telecons, no emails to answer, only pedaling and having a good time with good friends. Along the route, we see a lot of farm fields, usually corn or soybeans here in Iowa, and also hills and pastures. We don't have the Grand Canyon or Niagara Falls in Iowa, but some places here are pretty scenic. Each town, even the smallest one, seems to have a grain elevator. And at least one Casey's. Casey's is a large chain of convenience stores in the Midwest, and they have everything we need during the day. Food, drinks, ice, sunscreen, bug spray, etc. So while drivers stop for gas, we stock up on essential supplies and take a break to rest. Casey's is to RAGBRAI riders what an FBO is to pilots. Oshkosh has home builds, fixed wings, helicopters, jets, land and seaplanes. RAGBRAI has less variety, but if you look closely you can find a few interesting bikes. Like this high wheel, which must be really hard to ride on the uphills. Or this bike, which looks more like someone put wheels on an elliptical trainer. It looks heavy. If that still isn't enough of a workout for you, try riding RAGBRAI on a unicycle, where you can never coast to catch your breath, even on the downhills. And a growing number of cyclists, called baggers, rides completely self-contained, meaning they have their tents, sleeping bags, clothes for a week, and anything else they may need with them as they ride.
I'm not that ambitious. The only handicap on my bike is that I load up my pannier bags with a case of beer and with ice, so that we have cold beverages to share at our safety stops. It makes the bike heavier, but it's for a good cause.
The small town bars are very popular on RAGBRAI Day. Many of them make more money on that one day than in a typical month. That's why many small communities in particular love it when the RAGBRAI route includes them. It's a big money maker. At night, the overnight towns host big parties, and there's a concert each night which can be very popular. But it can also get crowded, so every now and then a few of the teams find a place a little bit away from the official overnight town and will turn that into an off-route campsite. It's more relaxed, and we can turn the team buses into dance clubs if we feel like it. The next morning, we get up, do the best we can to cure our hangovers, and start over. 7 days in a row until we reach the Mississippi River, after which our buses take us home, and most of us won't so much as look at our bicycles for a few days while our legs, our behinds, and in some cases our livers are recovering. What else can I tell you that you Oshkosh fans can relate to? Well, just like there's night flying, there's riding at night. We have good bright lights on the bikes to see and be seen, and we ride in groups for safety. Turbulence. Yes, we got an equivalent for that on the bikes. Navigation. Airplanes have the magenta line on the GPS screen. On RAGBRAI we follow route signs which are posted everywhere. The equivalent of a student pilot is a RAGBRAI Virgin, which is what they call a first-year participant. Backcountry flying. I think the closest we have on RAGBRAI is the optional gravel loop for mountain bikes and the growing number of fat bikes. Energy management. Vital for flying, it can be a lifesaver on those rolling hills. If you know when to speed up and slow down on the hills Bob Hoover style, you can make your life a lot easier.
So, it's July 2019. We're 2 weeks away from the start of both RAGBRAI and Oshkosh. Which one am I going to do this year? I have chosen RAGBRAI over Oshkosh the last 11 years in a row, and I think it's time that I find out what I've been missing out on. So this year, I will be at AirVenture the entire week. I'm excited. I have lots of plans for meeting people, seeing vendors, listening to presentations, watching the air shows, and of course for recording video for a few new YouTube projects. I will also give presentations during the week on lean of peak and mixture management, and also one on making flying videos, for which I'll team up with my friend Baron Pilot. The week will be very different from RAGBRAI, maybe less relaxing, but it'll be a lot of fun and very rewarding. To my many RAGBRAI friends, and especially to my Subtle Savages teammates, I will really miss you this year. Have fun, be safe, and I promise I will see you again on a future RAGBRAI. That's it for today. I have lots yet to do to get ready for Oshkosh, so I better get to it. Before you leave though, please hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video, and if you didn't like it, you can hit the thumbs down button, and you may want to hit it twice just to be sure. As always, I appreciate if you subscribe to my channel and tell your friends about it. That really helps me tremendously with making more videos in the future. And don't forget to also click on the little bell next to the subscribe button so you get notified when a new video is out. Thanks for watching, fly safe, and see you in Oshkosh at AirVenture.